Next Gen Arsenal Scouting Indoors. You guys all probably follow him if you follow me. Deep dive into Arsenal Academy keepers. I struggle to assess goalkeepers. And to be fair, who doesn't struggle to assess goalkeepers for so many reasons? First of all, size is such an important aspect of goalkeeping, and players at the youth level are usually not fully grown out. And so what actually is going to happen and how their bodies changes is going to change their ability to be successful or not successful, right? If you're 5'8", you can be an excellent goalkeeper up into a certain age group. But then once you're a certain age, if you haven't continued to grow, you're going to struggle. Players can get more accurate aiming towards the corners, towards the top, whatever it might be, and you're going to get further away from getting to them. However, goalkeepers can have the same issue where if you become too large for your body or your frame and you struggle to actually adjust to that and your athleticism adjusts to that, you can become slow and your reflexes can slow down. So there's a lot to it, and it's hard to assess also because the level that you're coming up against at the youth sides is always a little bit odd. Defenders making mistakes. There's a lot to come from it, and sometimes you can go multiple matches without being tested a lot. It is a really hard thing to digest, and unless you're a real special scout, I don't think there's any way to be 100% certain on goalkeepers. Having said that, I'm going to kind of dissect every goalkeeper at Hale End at the moment, kind of what they've done, what they're successful at, what they're not great at, and potentially what their future looks like. But again, bear in mind, goalkeepers are very, very hard to judge, and some of my opinions on these guys have changed since the last time I probably talked about goalkeepers, which was probably about this time last year. First and foremost, we're going to go with Arthur Okonkwo because he's actually technically not a part of the academy anymore, but he is an academy player and somebody who people ask about a lot and talk about a lot. He has been excellent this year at Wrexham. He just actually suffered his first defeat. We already talked about it on this podcast in 11 matches for Wrexham, but he does have 5 clean sheets. He's an interesting one, and what I want to talk about actually more because I'm interested in talking about what the next steps are for him and how he can best help Arsenal. He had an excellent year last year at Crewe and Sturm Graz. Sturm Graz is in the first division in Austria. And then this year was surprising that he went to Wrexham. But to me, it must be because there's a permanent move in the summer coming, and Wrexham is a high-profile club, as high-a-profile club as any League One or League Two side, maybe as high-a-profile club as nearly any championship side, and that, to me, increases value. The question is, how much can we get for Arthur Okonkwo? If you look at Manchester City, they've had excellent success selling goalkeepers in the past few years. Gavin Bazunu went for 15 million. James Trafford went for 19 million. Bazunu played for Rochdale and Portsmouth, and he was downright bad on his first loan, and then only 4 clean sheets and 30 appearances, allowing 57 goals. Then he had a bounce-back season at Portsmouth. I'll give him that. 16 clean sheets and 44 league matches, allowing 51 goals. But 15 million for a player like that who had never played in the Premier League, had never featured for Manchester City, and to a Premier League club is just insane. Like, Arsenal can't sell anybody anywhere who have better backgrounds than that. And then Trafford is even more puzzling. He went for 19 million. He was on loan in League One twice with Accrington Stanley and Bolton Wanderers. At Accrington, he only played 11 matches in all competitions, keeping just 2 clean sheets, and he allowed 26 goals. I mean, that's a disaster. And then at Bolton, he played 50 matches all comps, 26 clean sheets, and 36 goals were allowed. Those are fantastic numbers. Those are truly spectacular numbers. But in League One, yes, he had success with England's under-21s, but are we really building that into his transfer? That seems absolutely insane to me. And then going for nearly 20 million to a Premier League side. So my question is, and me trying to figure out is, what can you get for Arthur Okonkwo? This is a player who played 25 matches for Crewe last season, keeping 10 clean sheets, but allowing 30 goals, which is okay for a League Two side. 10 clean sheets in 25 matches is actually pretty good, and he started off really rough. The second half of that was really good, and it was good enough for him to not only get recalled and go out on a second loan, but go to a team chasing European club football in Sturm Graz, where he was fantastic. He played 18 matches and kept 6 clean sheets, allowed 19 goals. So far this season, he's also been great, as I mentioned. This is all to say we simply must receive a sizable fee for Arthur Okonkwo. Otherwise, we're not moving in the right direction as an academy. The academy is not just to supply players to the first team, but it's to supply funds and resources. And when you can make 10, 12 million off of a goalkeeper being sold, like that's just such simple money that we must start to create from our academy. It doesn't make sense if we can't get that kind of fee for Arthur Okonkwo, especially if he continues to play this well for Wrexham. That's all there is to it. It's simple. A player who can succeed in Austrian's Premier League needs to be able to be sold for a double-digit fee. Moving on, James Hillson. This isn't a real odd one. He's 22 years old, and he's been on the bench for a few matches with the first team. However, he's rarely played for Arsenal's under-21 since joining from Reading in 2019. Only 6 appearances in 5 years. That's absolutely insane. There's clearly, this isn't like a future situation for Hillson. He actually does train a lot with the first team, and the way I see it is he's more of an extra body. He's a player who isn't training with the academy because he's not really involved with the academy, but he's an extra goalkeeper to have at first team training. It's good for his experience. I don't know what his future holds in terms of professional soccer in any length, but it's good experience for him, and it's good to have him at the club. Ovie Ejeheri. This is a guy you guys heard me talk about quite a bit last year. He was awesome on loan, 20 years old. He was at Chelmsford for the first half of the year and then recalled and went to the Finnish first side in Finland and went to SJK. In total, he played 41 matches, kept 20 clean sheets, and only allowed 32 goals. Another spectacular goalkeeping season for an Arsenal product. His reflexes, Ovie's reflexes are the best of any academy goalkeeper that I've seen Arsenal have in the past 10 years. He makes saves on shots from inside the 6-yard box that are seemingly impossible, like truly, truly shocking. However, what is going to hold him back, and this is what's going to hold back a lot of goalkeepers in the next 10 years, is his ball playing ability and his precision passing. He's just not the most comfortable with the ball at his feet. And I think that actually is the main reason he didn't go on loan this year. As crazy as that sounds, if he goes on loan to a League One club or a League Two club, they're likely not going to be focused on playing out from the back, which is a lot of what we saw with Ovie last year at Chelmsford and SJK. However, Arsenal's under-21s are very, very hell-bent on playing out from the back, playing with the same philosophy that the first team does. This gives Ovie a chance to improve on that and show what he's made of. So I actually believe he'll spend the entire year with Arsenal's under-21s, and depending on how his ball-playing ability improves, he potentially will go on loan next year, or his career with Arsenal is over, whatever it might be. But to me, that actually is a great move by Arsenal and a very smart one, and one that not many people probably saw coming. Then we have Hubert Graczyk, also 20 years old, coming off of a great season with the under-21s. The stats probably don't show it, and again, that's why it's really hard to judge youth goalkeepers, because statistically, there's not a lot there to help your basis and your claims. But Graczyk has showed his immense ball-playing ability and shot-stopping throughout the season. It was vital to Arsenal's build-up play. He was especially good at that first pass over the first defender who's pressing into the wingback's feet. It's a very important pass to have in modern football. It's what allows a defender to be it's what allows a goalkeeper to be a part of build-up play. He also has incredibly impressive reflexes, but his positioning at times in goal is a little bit suspect. He'll get caught trying to come out and claim a cross or not quite know where he is between the sticks and giving up goals that, I think we say this about Jordan Pickford a lot, goals that should have been saved. And you don't want to be one of those goalkeepers. Interestingly enough, he was sent on loan to Slough Town this year in the National League South, but after 4 appearances, he was recalled due to what I think was just bad faith. When Slough Town brought in another goalkeeper on loan, Arsenal got angry, as they should have, and recalled him. So he's been playing with the under-21s. I actually do expect him to go on loan again in January because Hubert really hasn't featured yet with the under-21s this year. It was not a part of the plan for him to be with that side, and that's because of the players that I'm about to start talking about. Noah Cooper, first and foremost. He's a 17-year-old keeper who has been highly impressive every time I've seen him play. He has excellent distribution abilities, like an incredible knack for finding an open player. And as I said about Graczyk, I would double that with Cooper in terms of his ability to find the wingbacks when they're in space near the touchline. He's an above-average shot stopper, which is good to have. That's something he definitely needs to improve on. And without that, he won't become a future Arsenal goalkeeper. But to me, it's not a matter of athleticism with him. It's a matter of trusting his instincts. And he's gotten better just over the past 6 months as I've seen him play a lot more goalkeeper. He was the keeper for the entirety of that FA Youth Cup run to the final last year, and now he's a part of the under-21s. You can tell when you watch Noah Cooper play that he did grow up as a midfielder. He's just so comfortable on the ball. Like, not just his distribution. Like, just every touch he takes, he's clearly not worried that the ball's going to go too far away from him or he's going to get tangled up and get the ball stuck under his feet. He's a midfielder at heart who became a goalkeeper because he needed the playing time. He's one of the scholars right now. He has a real aura about him on the ball, as I mentioned, a real calmness that's exuded with each touch. And next year, he'll fight to be the starting under-21s goalkeeper, followed by what could be a loan spell. And by the time he's 20 or 21 years old, we'll see where he's at. You have to remember with goalkeepers, 17 years old, it's not like Ethan Nwaneri, who could be 2 games away from being in the first team. There's not a lot of 17-year-old goalkeepers who are going to be ever playing at the senior level. So there's a lot of time for Noah Cooper to continue to develop. Then we'll talk about Brian Okonkwo. That's Arthur's younger brother who turns 18 at the end of this year. So he's just nearly 18 and has had multiple quote-unquote loan spells, but not really the traditional loan spell. He had a one-match loan with Hitchin Town last year, playing for them. And then this year with Leatherhead, he played for them for the beginning portion of the year and performed quite well. Again, he was a goalkeeper similar to Arthur because of his size. He's just a massive human being, and he fills the goal. He fills the frame. He keeps a lot of shots out strictly due to his size. But it'll be interesting to see how he can contribute to Arsenal moving forward and if he has much of a career at Arsenal in the future. There's 2 goalkeepers at his level who are better than him and who have received a lot more game time, and that's one of the main reasons Okonkwo has gone on these little loan spells. So I wouldn't guarantee he's going to receive a professional contract, considering his competition and the involvement that he has had. And then you've got, who was my favorite goalkeeping prospect for a while, Alexei Rojas Radoroshenko. An incredibly interesting name. He was born in England. He has Colombian and Russian roots. He has featured for all 3 countries at some point in his career. He's an 18-year-old goalkeeper who most recently has been representing Colombia at the under-20 level and has pretty much committed to that being his future country to represent. There's been a lot of talk about that, but he seems to be quite certain of that. He established himself in Arsenal's under-18 team last season and featured 4 times for the under-19s in the UEFA Youth League this year. He is an incredibly highly rated goalkeeper. Of all these goalkeepers, he's probably been talked about the most by those outside of the club, which is not always that meaningful. But again, with goalkeeping scouting, we only have so much information. Rojas is tall, but he's not so tall in which you kind of worry that he won't be able to get down to make saves on certain types of shots. He stands at about 6'2". He has excellent reflexes and very, very good distribution. Not the level of Noah Cooper, but not something that's going to hold him back at this age. He also seems to be one of those goalkeepers who kind of struggles to find his spot between the posts, but he's really commanding in the box. He often sweeps out dead ball crosses with high claims, punches, whatever the situation is in an awfully crowded box, he's able to handle it pretty well. He is competing, though, with Noah Cooper for minutes. The 2 of them are going to compete for the under-21 and under-18 goalkeeper spot basically from January until the end of next year. That is assuming Hubert Graczyk goes out on loan. Ovie Ejeheri, we'll see what happens come January. I think Cooper or Rojas could definitely eat into his time with the under-21s. But Rojas and Cooper are going to have a real battle over the next few years to see who is the starting under-21 goalkeeper for the academy. And now we'll talk about the schoolboys, of which there are 3 goalkeepers in this class. We'll start with Jack Porter, who's a 15-year-old who I actually haven't seen that much of yet, so I'm not going to try and dive into things I don't know about. From what I've heard, he's a very, very talented shot stopper. He's represented England at the under-15 level. He's currently a part of the under-16 Arsenal side. He has trained with the under-18s, but he has not represented them. And that's really all I know. He's looking to earn a scholarship for next season, but to be honest, and you're going to hear why, I don't think that he will make the cut. And that's because Khari Ranson and Owen Asemota are 2 spectacular schoolboy goalkeepers. Khari Ranson is really something special. He's a 16-year-old who's best known for his talents with the ball at his feet. He's already played for the under-18s, and he has featured for England's under-16s. Under pressure, Khari is as cool as a cucumber, and it's not normally actually his ability to dribble out of pressure or kind of sustain pressure by holding on to the ball a little bit longer, kind of what we see with David Raya. But instead, Khari will take a first touch pass and place it wherever he wants. He has the true ball playing and passing ability of a midfielder. And he'll play a ball over one side of the defensive line and right in front of the other and drop it at the feet of any attacking player that he wants with these pinpoint passes. He's also an excellent penalty saver, which is an incredible trait to have at such a young age, especially as his body starts to fill out and he grows. He should get even better in that. I'm very, very impressed by this 16-year-old. And then Owen Asemota. He's a 15-year-old keeper with a little bit of a different skill set, more based around his shot stopping and reflexes, and it's one of the main reasons he's currently England under-16's first-choice goalkeeper. He trained with the first team as a 14-year-old. Arteta called him up to train with the first team as a 14-year-old. That's how good Asamota's shot stopping is. So basically, what I'm saying is, I think it's unlikely all three of these schoolboys earn a scholarship. It'll probably be Ranson and Asemota. They seem to be the more talented of the two. But of course, anything is possible. We've definitely been surprised by scholarship intake before. So, next gen Arsenal, I hope I answered that question to the best of my ability. As I said, I'm not going to try and make these takes be super specific because with goalkeepers, it's really hard to scout them. But that's kind of a rundown of all the goalkeepers at Hale End at the moment that we know about. And I'll continue to try and keep pace with them and find as many clips as I can of them. There's really, of all the players, there's the least amount of information about goalkeepers.